Hi everyone and welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to take you along as I assemble this raised garden bed that's replacing an in-ground garden bed that was in my backyard. Unfortunately, I don't have videos showing the old bed, but I'm going to insert a couple still photos so you can take a look at what I was working with before. This tear-shaped bed was here from the previous owners, and it originally held decorative plants like hostas and things like that. Last year I did plant some food items in it. We had some tomatoes, really productive zucchinis out there, and a couple pepper plants. The squirrels did go to town. I fought with the squirrels all summer, and really the zucchinis were the best thing that were in that bed. So my hope is that by putting in this raised bed, I can have a bigger growing area. You can see it's actually larger than what was there before, and that we can avoid some of the problems we had with the squirrels. If you're new here, my name is Mary. I live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I have 2 kids, and we've lived in this house for about a year. On this channel, I like to show everything plants, so some of my videos are on my indoor plants and some are on my gardening journey, helping to build out my space outside for food to feed my family. I picked up this raised garden bed from Costco, but I will link it on Amazon down below. I am an Amazon affiliate, so if you do purchase through the links, I earn a commission. This garden bed was relatively simple to put together. The biggest step and what took me the most time was leveling out my space here. I don't know if you can tell, but my backyard slopes a bit from the fence side, which is a bit higher, down towards where our vehicle is on the side. And you do need to put this garden bed on level ground, so I'm starting by working on that. This is where that existing garden bed was, and there was some landscape fabric around it, so I took that up and I'm starting to level it out. My original intention had been to show you how long it takes to do, but as you'll see, I had a little helper come along, and toddlers don't always help in a linear fashion. So here I am, just sort of raking and getting everything even. There was some mulch and some dirt down. My little guy here is also helping to level. This garden bed is 4 foot by 4 foot. I put 2 of them together, so mine's going to be 4 by 8 feet, but I found using this 4 foot level to be really helpful. I'm going to link below to some of the tools that I used that I thought were helpful, but you can see me sort of shimmying it back and forth, and that really helped to get that nice level line as I was evening the dirt. I also used a random piece of 2x4 from the garage to help with leveling out too. You can see I'm kind of making a level spot where I'm going to put the one edge of the garden bed here. All in all, this garden bed was mostly done within a day. I would say if you didn't have a little helper and a baby you were also trying to take care of, you could probably get this done in a couple hours, depending on how level your surface is. If you're already starting with a really nice level space and it's just the assembly, you could get this put up in 20 minutes. One thing that I didn't know when I had picked these up is that by putting them in a different configuration, which it is designed for, doing a 4x8 instead of 2 4x4s, they recommend using an 18-inch ground spike that goes in the middle sections on both sides. Those didn't come with it and were really hard to find. We went to Home Depot and Canadian Tire and we checked online. I'm going to link some down below that I found. So just so you know, mine don't have them in. I probably won't put spikes in the actual edges, but on the inside of the garden bed to kind of support it. I'm not sure it's totally necessary for you to have them. I don't know, I haven't had this garden bed long enough, but when I did put decorative rocks around the outside, it did start to bow a little bit. So that's just something to keep in mind. I would definitely use it if you're gonna have any pressures on the outside. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about my battle with the squirrels last year that I had with the in-ground garden bed. So I planted seedlings that I had purchased from the garden center of, I think I mentioned the tomato and the zucchini and some other things. And I kept coming out in the morning to my plants being dug up and big holes in the ground. And I wasn't sure what was doing it at first, but we did eventually see squirrels going at the plants. So I would end up replanting the plants the next morning as soon as I had seen that they had been pulled out. I probably lost about 40% this way. Obviously, being pulled out and replanted really hindered the root structure and the development of the plants. And so I would say the zucchinis out there did really, really well. They sort of weathered that storm. But the tiny Tim tomatoes I had didn't do as well. I did get some, but not as prolific as I had in containers the year before. So that was a bit of the impetus to do the raised garden bed. Part of it was that the squirrels were digging underneath and looking for buried treasure. So I'm kind of hoping I've cleaned out most of their treasure. And by having a more secure wall with the decorative rocks around the outside, I'm hoping to avoid some of the digging. When I put decorative rocks around that sort of black landscape plastic, it did help to discourage them digging, and when I put decorative rocks around the plants themselves, it also helped discourage digging. I'm growing my own seedlings this year, and so I think for me it's higher stakes if they get destroyed. I'll be pretty disappointed if I end up having to go to a garden center and replace them with something that's been purchased, because I have put all this love and care into starting the seeds myself in my basement under a grow light. So my plan for this garden bed is to have some zucchinis, piccolo eggplants, which are these little tiny eggplants, and maybe 2 different types of tomatoes. I really want to see how the spacing works and what that looks like. I might also have to put some hot peppers in here. I think I grew too many for my containers upstairs. If you haven't seen my other videos, historically when we've lived in other homes, I've only had balconies or like an upstairs terrace. So I've typically done all of my gardening in containers and feel a lot more comfortable doing that. I've had a lot of success. So we have an upstairs balcony off of the 2nd floor. And so I do have a lot of containers up there that we brought with us that I'll be putting hot peppers and tomatoes, basil, things like that in. Getting back to the assembly here, I actually found it easier to assemble on the ground in stages as I went around and leveled, rather than trying to level everything all at once. So you can see I'm putting each section in at a time, making sure that the ground is level underneath before I put in a new section. Basically, our whole backyard had been covered in mulch that after 2 seasons has degraded quite a bit. So this mulch plus the dirt that was there is going to be the base layer in this garden bed. Since doing all of this, we had some really beautiful days. I went on vacation, and now that I'm home about a week later, the weather has really turned. It's about 10 degrees Celsius cooler, so I'm not going to be planting anything in here in the next couple of weeks, so I still have some time to get the remaining dirt and soil amendments to top up the bed. So just a reminder, I'll put some links down below so you can check out where to get this raised garden bed, as well as some of the tools and other accessories I would recommend you have if you're going to build it. I want to thank you for watching another video, and I hope to see you again soon. I'm going to continue doing my gardening vlogs and bring you along on my journey. I found that gardening has always been a trial and error and learning experience for me, so I hope that from watching this, you can learn from me, but really I'm hoping I can learn from you too. So please leave any comments down below if you have any suggestions or tips. So this was at the end of the day when it was assembled. It looks really good. It's very secure. I wouldn't say you necessarily need the stakes in the middle. There's no bowing. It's very even. It's only when I added the decorative rocks the next morning that I felt like I needed some stabilization in the middle. So I'll be sure to bring you along as I plant in this bed. And I want to thank you again for watching my video today. Please give it a like and a subscribe. Thank you.